discoveries at the same time about curing your lethal disease. And you sit in groups of 6 or 3, and you share in the big group. Like, let's say you have 50 friends, and you share in the big group, and you sit in the small groups, and you do this together in very, intimate kind of surroundings, but all sitting in the same room. And then, like, you do that for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then you stop. And, you have somebody, one of you is designated as a leader, and who says, okay, now we're going to stop, and who wants to share? And people get up and share with everybody what they've discovered. And you make discovery after discovery. You have 50 people, and they're all making these discoveries. And by the way, these 50 people discover precursors to cancer. And they cure things because, most people have something to cure, believe it or not. I mean, do you know what the percentage of women with fibromyalgia is that's estimated? I believe it's something like 5%, and a 2% like diagnosed with fibromyalgia, some arcane disease. I mean, I never heard of it before I met somebody who had it. So that's another thing. Somebody with endometriosis, which I'd never heard of, told me, she said she thought a lot of women had it, and there's a lot of women on record as having it, but also she said that it's the tip of an iceberg. So many women have it and they don't know what it is, or they just think it's a swelling or whatever. They're retaining water or something. They have a mild case of it. Okay. So we were talking one day, and this was the breakthrough. And you're starting to see the success formula is all these things I'm telling you about Jane are aspects of it, but really you can just put it into a few words. And the success formula is be somebody who cures things. But that doesn't really mean anything unless you see all these different aspects of it. So this is the question, like, how did she actually cure this thing? Well, in a way, you never know how you cured something. But in another way, you do. And so one day, Jane and I were talking, and I had noticed that one thing Jane liked and she was interested in was accessing her past lives. Now, not that I'm saying you've had past lives. You may not believe in past lives. I don't want to turn you off, and they think, oh, you have to believe in past lives. Also, most people who cure cancer do not do anything with their past lives to cure it. But here's what happened with Jane. We were talking, right? And she was telling me about some past lives thing. And at first I was thinking, I was discouraging her. I was saying, hey, listen, you should focus on other things because that would probably be something after you cure your cancer. You're probably wasting time with this. By the way, again, this is, in case you found this through YouTube, this is the website you go to. Okay? Anyway, I said, but then I started listening to her, and I said, wait a minute. You know what? I said, I don't know if you're going to cure your cancer this way, but I think you should do what you're interested in, because that's what I originally told you, and you seem to really enjoy this. So sure, like, do all the basics, everything the basics, and also, just test around for other things that could be cofactors, ancillary causes, contributing factors, predispositions, and so test through the entire web college, everything that's up there, find all those, remove them, install them, do whatever you have to do, and with your leftover time. She had all day. She was somebody who could do this 12 hours, all day, 24/7. She could, when anybody can, you can work and do this. But, I mean, she could take a 3-hour walk in the morning and then go out in the afternoon after lunch and take a 3-hour walk. And then have dinner and take a 3-hour walk. So, and, that's how you generally do this stuff, is you get the things from the web college, but then you take them out and you walk around and you do them, You're not going to just sit there and do the thing in front of the computer. That's not how it works. Okay? Nobody does that. Who does that? I mean, I don't know how far along you are in this study, okay? But very quickly, within a few hours or days at the most, you're going to realize I'm not going to sit in front of the computer and do this. You know, this is something that's going to take me some time. I'm going to go someplace I like being and sit down and do it. Or just I'm going to do it at work. You know, I'll take a minute and just do another one and another one all throughout the day. You know, if you're working, I'll just do another one and another one. Like, oh, for example, one time I tested, I had 43 misdirections. Those are good things to do at work, taking out misdirections. You have to access what they are. They sort of clear up when you do, you know. There are many, hundreds of things like that that can be wrong with you, you know. I've had quite a few of them wrong with me. So anyway, so Jane did this. I said, just spend the rest of the time, you know, access a past life or two. She had a lot of past life. Actually, no, she didn't. As I remember it, she didn't have a lot of past life trauma compared to most people. You know, you can test how much past life trauma you have before you start. And also you have trauma from this life. And also you have trauma from the last 6 weeks. These are all different. Okay, these are all different aspects of trauma. And you do the trauma lessons and you'll find out how to take them out. That's where you find out, in the trauma lessons. There are very, very detailed instructions about it. Anyway, so Jane, you know, did some past life trauma. Well, a few days later, I'm talking to her on the phone. The first thing she says, she starts the conversation, she says, I think I cured my cancer. I said, really? Did you get a medical test? What did your medical test say? And she said, I'm going tomorrow. She said, but I think it's going to be better. I think I cured it. She said, I took out a past life trauma. And I felt really different. And, you know, we have this expression. Like when, you know, you have the calm, clear place. Well, we have an expression, we call it the Big Bang. And the Big Bang isn't like a bang. It's really more like a calm, clear thud, where you just are absolutely still and thoughtless. There's nothing going on at all with you. And you're very, very perceptive of your surroundings and really happy. And she said, it was like nothing I've ever seen, nothing I've ever felt. And she, you know, her numbers were better. And they just kept going down from there. That was how it ended. You know, it was just simple, you know, and it was gone. The last time I talked to her, it was completely gone. Never did a mastectomy, never did chemo, never did radiation, nothing. So it's possible that one thing can cause something. And maybe in her case that's what it was, although frankly, after the Big Bang, she kept doing all the basics and everything else. It's just that they seem to be working or working better. You know, it all seemed to be working better than it had been. So, the success formula then is you've just seen a portrait of somebody who cures things. She cured her cancer in the face of massive adversary and discouragement and, you know, the lack of any knowledge or even support from me or us. She did it. It's one thing that makes her so important is that she didn't have a lot of support from the cure drive. We didn't have cure shows. She didn't meet with the teachers. It was her and me talking. She didn't have 50 friends that came to her living room. She did it all by herself pretty much, and gone it was. So that's how we did things back in the dark ages. Oh, for the good old days of motoring, when your car steered like a truck and the gear shift was, you know, ground when you threw it into gears, but boy, it was fun. The wind in your face, you know. She was one of the Jeremiah Johnsons of this. And, you know, Jeremiah Johnsons they don't do it because they're trying to help the world. Like, they do it because they like wrestling grizzlies, you know. But they do blaze a lot of trails.